Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, children. Yesterday we started with the third topic, current electricity. Yesterday the introduction of current was given, and we were learning in the previous topics about static electricity, which is due to the which is the current due to static charges. And I also said this topics deal with moving charges. Moving charges produce electricity, and this topic is named as current electricity. Current is moving, that is flow, moving charges. And yesterday we were discussing about the definition of current. The current is nothing but, if you consider a net charge Q flowing through any cross section area of a conductor in time t, then the current was defined to be I is equal to Q by T. And I also said that current need not be steady always. We can make current to be flowing in a steady manner, but sometimes the current need not be steady. So in that case, we will calculate the value of current to be I was talking about limit del t tend to 0. In that case, I defined the value of current to be del q by del t, which is also equal to dq by dt. Okay, at any particular point, instantaneous current if the current is not going to be steady. So these were some of the topics that were discussed yesterday. So as such, we define the definition of current to be, current is nothing but rate of flow of charges. Rate in the sense with respect to time. When current is charges flowing at a particular time or at any instant of time, you call that current to be, you call that to be current, which is nothing but rate of flow of charges. And we were also discussing about the unit of current, which is ampere, and smaller units of current, which is microampere, milliampere. So all these we were discussing yesterday. So now we are going to continue with that. Now let us move on to electric currents in conductors. Now we are going to stick ourselves with the flow of electric current in conductors. Now there are so many other materials. We know the materials are classified into three types. One is conductor, one is insulator, the other one is semiconductor. So here we are going to start with, now today we are going to talk about current electricity part 2. Yesterday part 1 was discussed. So we are moving on to part 2 here. Right? So let us consider materials. Right? Now before that, when we talk about electric charge, now electric charge, when it is kept in an electric field, in first chapter itself we read, whenever you keep an electric charge in an electric field, what happens? It experiences a force. Yes or no? So the charges will start moving by gaining a force that is applied, that is given due to the electric field. Right? But when we take atoms and molecules, now in atoms and molecules, you have negatively charged electrons and positively charged protons, which are considered to be nuclei. Now they are bound to each other. When you consider an atom or a molecule, the electrons and the nuclei, they are bound together. So in some material, these electrons are not free to move. So when you give an external electric field also, these electrons are tightly bound in such a way, in spite of giving a very high electric field also, you will not be able to lift the electrons up. So these are some type of materials, right? But there are some materials in which the electrons will be able to come out and they are free to move. For examples, in metals, conductors we talk about. Now, how do you define conductors as? Conductors are nothing but where the electrons are free, which allow current to pass through. In lower classes, you would have read about the definition of, whenever we talk about conductor, conductors are those materials which will allow current to pass through it. So, which means that in conductors, we have electrons that are freely moving. Okay, so we are going to restrict our discussions only with respect to conductors in this chapter. Okay, right. Now let us move on to this diagram. Let us take a conductor. Now this is a cylindrical tube. Now let us consider the case where you are not applying electric field. Now here, as far as this diagram is concerned, an electric field is applied, but I am talking about the introduction where you imagine a conductor in the absence of an electric field. So in the absence of an electric field, definitely, as I told you, in conductors the electrons are free to move. So the electrons will be moving, okay, and you have not only electrons, you have other positive charges are also there. So when these electrons are moving, they will hit with the other positive charges also. So you have what is called as collision. So due to collisions with other molecules, other particles, you will have thermal energy. So due to thermal motion, they collide with the fixed ions, which are considered to be positive charges, right? Okay, so an electron colliding with an ion emerges with some speed, right? Yes or no? So whenever it is hitting a positive ion, it gains some speed and it travels with the same speed after collision also. Since the direction of the electrons are random, as far as the number of electrons which is traveling in one direction will be equal to the number of electrons traveling in the opposite direction. Imagine a busy street where people will be walking here and there. One person will be going this way, the other person will be coming in the opposite way. It's a random motion, right? So we can say that the net electric current is zero here. Yes or no? So there is no perfect direction for the electron to move. Yes or no? As far as this case is concerned, all are moving here and the random movement of electrons. They hit, they go, one will be going in this direction, the other will be coming in the opposite direction. So there is no particular movement, all will move randomly. And in this case, we can say that the net current will be considered to be 0. Okay, right? So this is in the absence of an electric field, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some electric field. Now how am I going to apply an electric field? You take this conductor. Now this conductor is in the form of a cylinder. Let us consider the form of a cylinder and whose radius is taken as capital R. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two thin circular discs. Are you able to see where the circular disc is there in your diagram? See, this is one circular disc and this is one circular disc. I'm going to take two circular discs. Okay, and in one circular disc I'm going to add positive charge, and in the other circular disc I'm going to add negative charge. Look at the diagram. Here it is positive charge, here it is negative charge, and I am going to attach this disc in that cylindrical conductor. Okay, you're able to understand? So I have fixed, see here, one end of the cylinder is fixed with positive charge and the other one is negative charge. So as soon as a setup is kept like this, immediately what happens? What happens? Will there be an electric field created? Yes or no? Definitely there will be an electric field created. Yes. So an electric field is created which moves from positive to negative. Look at the direction of electric field now. Okay, so the direction of electric field will be from plus Q to minus Q. Now what does this electric field do, children? Now as I told you, there are electrons which are randomly moving in this conductor. Now as soon as an electric field is given, now this electric field will accelerate the electrons that are there in the conductor, and the electric field, as I said, it moves from positive to negative, and these electrons will be accelerated, and since electrons are considered to be negatively charged, where do they start moving? They start moving towards plus Q. Am I making you the concept clear? So they will move as soon as the electron starts moving, we'll say that there is a production of current. As by the definition, we said current is nothing but what? Rate of flow of charges. Now, which charge is started moving here? Electrons start moving. So, this constitute current. But there will be current existing only for a very small amount of time. Why? Why? Because I have just taken only a little amount of positive charge and negative charge. So till this is so when the electron starts moving, it starts neutralizing. So there will be a flow of current only for a short time. Yes or no? So there will be a current for a very short while and no current thereafter. Okay. Now, so I can continue this process. I can continuously make the electrons to move in the presence of electric field. How can I do that? Now when I connect, now this is limited here. Now I have taken a circular disc. I have just kept some positive charges and some negative charges. There will be a current flow only for a very short time until you have these charges. But after that, there will not be current flow in the conductor. But I can make a continuous flow of current, or I can make the steady flow of current to occur. What can I do when I connect this to an external power supply? Suppose when I connect it to a battery, what happens? Now here the positive charge, here this part is connected to the positive terminal of a battery, and this part will be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So in that case, what happens, children? Will there be electric field permanently there? And there will be a permanent movement of electrons from one part to other, or the electrons will start moving towards the positive side. In that case, the current will be steady. So this mechanism can be made. So what are the external agencies that will supply a flow of that will supply energy is nothing but these batteries or cell, which we are going to learn in the forthcoming topics. We are going to talk about battery cells, when it is connected, how it works. So this system can be made, or I can get a steady flow of current by continuously making the electrons to move towards the plus Q side by connecting it to an external power source, which is nothing but a battery or something. So this is nothing but flow of current in a conductor. So we are going to restrict ourselves with the flow of current in conductors. Okay, you are able to understand this? So with this, we are going to very important concept, which is called as Ohm's law. Okay, very important. Hope you would have done the basic in your 10th standard. We are going to continue the same thing. What is Ohm's law? Okay, so this law is the basic law regarding the flow of current. So this was discovered by George Simon Ohm. So he is the physicist who is behind this law, and hence the name is given as Ohm's law. Right? Now, this law states that the current flowing through a conductor, I'm just reading the law, please listen. The current flowing through a conductor. Now, what is this current? Is a steady current. Okay, we have to mention the word steady. The steady current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends, provided the temperature and other physical conditions remain unchanged. Now, Ohm's law is applicable only for steady current and constant temperature. Steady current, and these are the very important conditions: constant temperature. So these two conditions are applicable for Ohm's law: steady current and constant temperature. So the potential difference is proportional to I, that is V, actually this is proportional, children, okay, V proportional to I, or this proportionality is replaced by a constant called R. Now this is a very important term, R. R is nothing but you call it as resistance. Resistance, what is the meaning for the word resistance? Resist means what, children? Resist pandra means which will not allow. So the resistance of a particular conductor, what does it do? What does it do is it resists the flow of current in the conductor, and the unit of resistance is nothing but you call it as ohm. Now this is also, ohm can be written like this. This is how you write ohm as. Okay, so this is about Ohm's law. I read once again. The current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends, provided the temperature and other physical conditions remains unchanged. And when you replace this proportionality is replaced by a constant called resistance, which is called as R, which is called as resistance, and the unit of resistance is ohm, and the symbol is, I have already drawn the symbol, and this resistance depends on, now we are going to discuss on the factors on which the resistance depends on. Now definitely it depends on the material of the conductor, and apart from the material of the conductor, what are the other factors on which the resistance depends on? That is what we are going to see the next topic. Now to understand what are the factors on which the resistance depend on, let us take this diagram. The first diagram is a slab. Okay, this is a slab, and L represents, now this is L, children, hope you are able to see that. Okay, so this is L, the length of the slab. It is represented as, I'll write it clearly, length of the slab and area of cross section. So let us consider a slab. Now the second diagram talks about, now this is the minimum, right? A length of the slab. Let us take a slab, and in the second diagram I have taken two slabs. Okay, so the first slab is here, the second slab is here. Now two such identical slabs are kept side by side. So the combination of the length will be, now L becomes, what is L becomes now? Initially L is the length of the slab. Now here the length is 2L. Now I allow current to pass through this. Okay, so the current will be passing through this, and what about the potential difference? Now when we talk about the potential difference between 2 points on this slab, let us take the potential difference to be V. Okay, whenever we talk about potential difference, we talk with respect to 2 points. So let us take potential difference across the first end of the slab. First slab, we'll be taking the potential difference here, and here also we'll have the potential difference. You imagine the topic, remember the topic, capacitors connected in series and parallel. Now when capacitors are connected in series, we discussed the current flowing that will be same, and you have variation in potential difference, same thing. Now we are also going to learn resistors here. Now when two such slabs are connected, now the potential difference at this slab is taken as V, and here also the potential difference is taken as V. So what will be the total potential difference? The potential difference will be the sum of the potential difference, which is taken as V plus V. Now V total will be V plus V, which is equal to 2V, right? So when I substitute in Ohm's law, what is Ohm's law? I said V is equal to V proportional to I, or R is equal to, what is the formula we arrived at? R is equal to V by I. So substitute R equal to V by I. Instead of V, we substitute 2V by I in the case of the second diagram. Current remains the same. As far as these slabs are concerned, the current flowing inside the slab will be taken as I, but the potential alone will be different. Here you have potential V, here also will have potential V. So the total potential will be 2V. Now this I can write it as 2 times R. Now let me take this as R dash. This is 2 times R. So what happens to the resistance? If the length of the slab is doubled, what is happening here? The length of the slab is doubled, the resistance also will be double. So I can say resistance is proportional to L. Okay. Now look at the next diagram. The next diagram, we talk about again the same slab, but here imagine this to be removed. Now what I have done is, I have cut the slab in between. Look at, there is a break here. Okay, so Now divide the slab into two by cutting lengthwise. Now I have cut the slab lengthwise. So what happens now to the area? Area becomes, initially the area was A, now the area has become A by 2, correct? Correct or not? So as such, you imagine the capacitors to be connected in parallel. So here this area is A by 2 and this area is A by 2. Yes or no? So if area is going to be A by 2, what will happen to the current? The current also becomes, what happens to the current? Current becomes I by 2. Yes or no? So I will have R dash in this case as V by I by 2 here, which is equal to 2 times V by I, which is also nothing but 2 times resistance. Resistance also increase, but we can say that the resistance here is inversely proportional to 1 by A. Generally, we'll say the resistance is inversely proportional to area and it is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. So when I combine these two, I will have the equation resistance proportional to L by A, and this proportionality I replace by a constant called rho, which is called as resistivity. What is this rho called as, children? This rho is nothing but you call it as resistivity. Hope you remember all these things. I'm just recalling whatever you have done in 10th standard. Resistivity, and resistivity depends only on what? Resistivity depends only on the nature of the material. Okay, resistivity, or otherwise you call it as specific resistance. Resistivity or specific resistance, and the unit for this is resistivity unit, we'll find out rho equal to R into A by L. If I rearrange this formula to find out the unit, resistance is ohm, area is meter square, L is also meter. So the unit for resistivity will be ohm meter. Okay, rho is represented as ohm meter. So what are the units now? Resistance has the unit ohm. Resistivity has the unit ohm meter. Very, very important. Units are also very important. Wherever you substitute the values, the units definitely should be mentioned. Okay, so substitute in formula here. V is equal to, what is the formula? V is equal to I into R. Okay, this is Ohm's law. I've just rearranged. See here, R equal to V by I, or V is equal to I into R. Substitute for R as R into I into R is rho L by A. So this is also the equation. V is equal to I into rho L by A. I am going to introduce one more important term here based on this formula. I'll take I and A alone. So when I take I and A alone, what is I and A? The ratio of current with respect to area, that is current per unit area. Current per unit area is called as current density. Current density, which is represented as J. So current per unit area in the sense the current that is flowing normal to the area, which is called as current density. I'll give you the definitions in the next class. What is current density? I can give you the definition for current density. In short, we'll know current flowing through area per unit area. Okay. Now what is the value unit of current here? Unit of current is ampere and area is meter square. So the unit of current density J is equal to ampere per meter square. So here is one more formula. All these are, see, I am taking the basic formula. of Ohm's law, I am arriving at different values. All these are the form of Ohm's law. So current density is current per unit area, which takes the unit of ampere per meter square. Okay, and I am going to have two more formulas based on this. Let me write here. Okay, now I just summarize all the formulas here. The first formula is R equal to V by I, or V is equal to I into R. Now I substitute for R as, what is the value I substituted for R? R is rho L by A, rho L by A, which is equal to V, and I took the value of I by A, which is termed as J. J is equal to I by A. Now what are these called as? Now resistance. This is called as resistance, whose unit is ohm. Now this is called as current density, whose unit is given as ampere per meter square. So what is this J? This J is nothing but current density. Okay. Now I can write this equation. What is V also? V is nothing but, I can write this as E into L. Yes or no? Potential formula. What is potential formula? V is equal to, okay, or electric field, E is equal to V by D, or V is equal to E into D. So I can write V as E into L here. So compare these two equations. So EL is equal to I rho L by A. And what is I by A? I by A is, I write it as J. So the formula becomes J rho L gets cancelled. So here is one more formula for electric field based on current density and specific resistivity, which is equal to E is equal to J into rho. Now this rho is nothing but, now I am going to introduce one more formula which is called, hope you remember all this, is sigma. Now what is sigma called as? Sigma is conductivity. Conductivity is sigma equal to 1 by rho, that is the inverse. Now this is also one more formula. So I will write this as J is equal to E by rho, or I can also write this E into 1 by rho. 1 by rho is sigma. So here is one more formula for current density based on electric field and conductivity. Okay. Now the formula for conductivity is rho equal to R. What is the unit I wrote? Is ohm meter, unit for resistivity, and sigma is conductivity. I can write as mho per meter. Okay, this is the unit for conductivity. I am going to discuss resistance, conductance, resistivity, conductivity. Now just I introduced the formula, that's all. Okay, so these are some of the formulas. Now all these are one or the other form of Ohm's law. Now for all these things, the basic is Ohm's law. Okay, so R is equal to V by I, J is equal to I by A. Then I have one more formula for J, which is equal to E into sigma, and sigma is nothing but 1. Now all these formulas are discussed in your textbook, children. I want you to go through this formula very clearly, so that I'll be continuously doing some problems based on this, and then only I'll move on to drift velocity. Clear, children? So please go through this formula in the introduction. What is resistance? What is conductivity, resistivity? All these things I want you to go through. Okay, ma? See you children tomorrow.